So, Kristen Kish is someone that you're going to be seeing a lot more of these years and years and years. We've already seen a lot of her these last years, and it's more coming, people. So I'm super happy about knowing that somebody like her is getting the opportunity to tell her story and the story of others in fascinating ways. She was the winner of Top Chef in 2015, and now she's the show's new co-host. I mean, she goes from participating, she goes back to win it, and now she is the new co-host, taking over the one, Padma Lanchka. Anybody that takes over Padma, you know. She
Big
is
stilettos to fill that one.
So people, welcome to Longer Tables, and please give a big round of applause to the one, Kristen Kish.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So in July, it was announced that you will be replacing Padma.
Yes.
As a host of Top Chef. So tell me what it went through your head. The moment that you got the phone call, you got the email, you got the text message asking you, hey, would you consider being the new co-host?
Right.
What happened in the moment? Where were you?
I found out it was, everyone was shocked when she put up that Instagram post and said that she was moving on, myself included. And just like every single one of you, or anyone who's watched the show, I'm sure you were like, whoa, I wonder who can hold that spot. I was also thinking the exact same thing. Not once in my brain was it like, oh, I can do this. Absolutely not. And so I kind of let it go. I sent her a lovely message. I was like, all the best to you, all the things. We've been friends for many years. And my wife and I are traveling back from Thailand. We land in Dubai to catch our connection back to New York. And I opened my phone, a string of text messages from my agent. It was like, call me. I was like, either something's really wrong or something's really great. I don't know what it's gonna be. So I'm going through security in Dubai, cruising right through. She calls me. I put my suitcase on the conveyor belt. I'm like, hello, I have about 2 seconds before I have to run through this machine. She goes, Bravo wants to talk to you. And I said, a lot of things that I probably shouldn't say, and my mother would be pissed off if I said them in this moment, but I had a lot of curse words.
Do you curse?
I fucking love to curse, Jose. It is. Sometimes the word fuck is the only thing that can really make your point. So yeah, fuck, all the thoughts in my brain. And that was kind of the start of it. And a couple months later, I was offered the job. And I was filming 3 months after that.
Wow, did they make you do like a casting, like to be like a co-host?
No, so what happened, I asked my manager, I said, do I have to audition for this? Because if it's an audition, I don't really want it. I don't have enough energy in me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers to everyone. Thanks for being here.
This is Longer Tables, but now is Longer Drinks.
I don't know what that is, but it's delicious. And I've lost my train of thought. How much alcohol is in that? I did not want to audition. And so she was like, well, no, it's not an audition. I go to LA, I meet with the president of Bravo, yada, yada, yada. And he goes at the end, well, we have a couple more people to talk to. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. Absolutely not. He calls me a week later. He said there was nobody else. It was always you. And so I was like, great, perfect.
So you had no second thoughts. You
No.
think that that's something you really wanted to do?
I didn't know that I wanted to do it. And that's the thing about all the things that happen in my life. I never know that I want to do them until I'm actually doing them. And I've done it. And I can look back and be like, oh yeah, I wanted to do that.
Because you are in a very unique position, because technically you are the only host that ever competed before on the series. Right. And probably on any other series. That you go from being the guy trying, the person trying to win, to being the co-host. Yeah. So I'm only guessing that this is giving you a very good, different point of view from any other judge or any other host before. So how do you see yourself when now you are right there,
You-
leading the show and bringing the voices forward and trying to tell the stories
Yeah.
that others don't see?
Right.
Because you've been inside and now you are like inside but in the outside.
I know.
How is that experience?
I'm not at risk of getting kicked off, which is fantastic. I remember the first time I had to say, please pack your knives and go. And then the first time I got to say, because we've already filmed it, you are top chef. And I mean, I cried more times than I can probably count out of just like shocking myself of pure gratitude, but also knowing what it feels like to hear both of those things, because I was kicked off and I did win. And being on the other side and seeing these chefs, when you compete on Top Chef, you leave your restaurants, you leave your family, you don't get paid. So if you don't make money on that show, you just did it, you took 6 weeks off of work for free. And I have deep empathy, but I also have this sense of, I know you can do better when they're not doing good enough. Because I'm like, I know what it feels like to be in this, and you have got to do better. And you've got to think about this kind of game differently. The greatest chefs, and I don't consider myself one of the greatest chefs, but I did win that show. Sometimes the best chef doesn't win. It's the best chef who could play the game wins.
Like Squid Games?
Like Squid Games. Also, that's on Netflix, and I would like to compete on that. So I don't know if Bravo Network's going to let me on that, but I would love to do it.
I put my money on her to win the Squid Games. A culinary Squid Games, you will be grateful. I don't know. I will not want to compete against you. I can tell you that. I have that feeling. This episode of Longer Tables is sponsored by State Farm. When you get a new car or a new home, the first thing you might find yourself saying is, I cannot believe it, or this is incredible. But what you really want to say is the one thing that can get you the help you need. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. State Farm is there with the coverage you need for your car, your home, and even boats, motorcycles, RVs, and other things that matter to you. With a State Farm agent, you know someone is there to help you choose the coverage you need. With so many coverage options, it feels good knowing you can find what works best for you and your needs. And when you need ways to get help, State Farm gives you options there too. Whether it is in person or on the phone with your local agent or on statefarm.com or on their award-winning app, State Farm lets you do things your way. So when you need help protecting the things that matter most, remember to say, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. So, okay, first day, you're the host, you're on the show. You were kind of shaking?
Yes, literally, yeah.
What do you remember on the first day? You remember nothing? You remember many things?
I remember all of it because I did a lot of like emotional, mental work in order to remain present, because I was like, I don't want to forget any of this, and I want to remember what this feels like. And I did a lot of work beforehand. I did a lot of hypnosis, emotional freedom technique, a lot of things to get my mind right. Because I don't know if you were at the demo yesterday or have heard me speak before, like I have, I think I question my self-worth and my confidence and my ability on what I can and cannot do, oftentimes erring on the things of, I know I can't do that.
And you've been very outspoken about this.
Very, yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
You've been sharing with others your own struggles,
I think it's
the things you
important.
went through. And you've been great at doing that, sharing that with others.
Well, someone once said it was borderlining oversharing. And in my brain, I'm like, well, it depends on who you ask if you consider that oversharing. But at the end of the day, if you're going to make it feel like you're not the only person in this world that has these feelings, I'm all for oversharing, if that's the definition of it.
So anything you remember on the first day?
Yeah,
they forgot to put your mic on.
No,
You confused the name of some of the chefs,
No.
like I do all the time. Anything you remember that was funny, something?
So Tom, you know Tom Colicchio, of course.
Tom
And-
Colicchio, people, he's been here before.
Yeah. I was terrified to be around him. I was like, you've judged me. I look at Tom as being up here from me. I mean, he's had a much longer career. He's got more successful restaurants than I do. He's got a lot of stuff going for him. And so the very first day, I was literally shaking, and I was having a moment. I was pacing back and forth in my green room, and full hair and makeup, beautiful clothes. And he goes, just, Kristen, come here for a second. He pulls me into his dressing room, and he goes, you know what it feels like to stand in front of your team at your restaurant and deliver pre-shift? And I said, well, yeah, chef, I know that. He goes, that's all you have to do. You talk to them like they're your chefs in your kitchen, the people that you spend your time with at your restaurant. Just talk to them that way. And from that moment forward, I think it all started to click. And I stopped looking at this role in this show as my job, as opposed to, well, no, this is just a shared human experience that we're all going to remember. And quite frankly, the chefs are more nervous than I am. So I need to have, you know, a little bit more confidence in myself to bring a little calm to the situation.
Right. How many tattoos you have?
That's a great question.
Do you count them?
I have no idea. I know exactly what every single one of them is. They all have a meaning, a point in time, a reference.
It's a lot of
Andrew
food.
Zimmern's face is on my ass. It's great.
We don't want details. I don't want to get so deep. Is human resources around? I see a lot of culinary tattoos. Some herbs here and there, some knives, knives.
There's some culinary stuff, but there's also things that mark moments in time in my life. I had a Nat Geo show, so I got a scuba mask on the back of my arm. I'm normally not a scuba diver, but they, for some reason, love to throw me in the water on that show. So
Restaurants at the end of the world.
That's
An
right.
amazing show.
You should check it out.
And so did you got one there because something happened?
Yeah, I have the scuba mask here. I have 2 for my wife, 1 for an ex-girlfriend, and another one for an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you which one's which.
So you're recommending that somebody needs to come up with a tattoo that when the person becomes ex-girlfriend, you can erase?
No, absolutely
You
no.
want to keep it?
I want to keep it.
It's part of your life.
It led me to her, so we're all right.
Boom.
Yeah, we're all right.
Boom. Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for my wife to give me permission to get my first tattoo. Maybe one day. Wife? So, you were born in Seoul, South Korea, but you grew up in an adopted family in Michigan. In a way, reminds me of the story of Marcus Samuelsson, coming from Africa and then being adopted in Sweden. So your mother, I'm told, I know, tried to create a connection for you to Korea.
Yeah.
But in a way, you didn't feel Korean. So I want to know, obviously, you're born in Michigan, so why not? And if not Korean, how did you identify as a child and then growing up? Has changed?
It's a lifelong journey. I think that anybody has a lifelong journey of self-identifying, whether you're adopted or born biologically into a family. And I was dealing with the lack of connection I had to my culture, feeling bad about it. But, you know, the thing about Top Chef and competing on it was when you put yourself out there in such a really big way, you know, a national platform that goes international, all of a sudden you find your people very quickly. And what ended up happening is I went on that show. Within the first few episodes, I started getting messages from adoptees, from Asian Americans, from, well, I knew I was very gay, and I think the assumption was that I was definitely gay. I don't know, maybe my mannerisms gave it away, I don't know. But the amount of people that started bringing me into their community. And I feel like I actively try to bring and reach people, to bring them into the communities that we are part of. Because had no one done that for me, I would have stayed on the outskirts, second guessing if I even belonged in the first place. So that's like a lot of the driving force of wanting to know more about people, their story, and where they want to belong.
Wow. So I guess that one of the difficulties today that seems everyone or life or the situation wants to put labels on all of us. I remember early on, you know, somebody, I'm gay, and I was like, and so what? I mean, you are you, or I am that, and like, so what? You are you. But seems in this day and age, these days, seems we all need to be putting labels. I think it's important sometimes because some people that speak up about being this or that. Can be about religion, can be about political identity, can be about if you're gay, lesbian, or straight. It's okay if some people want, especially to speak about it because they want to be making a point because they feel they have to make the point to sometimes defend the rights of people that sometimes they are under attack or unwelcome or that society creates a situation that seems they don't belong. So I love when people speak up and say, I am that, I'm proud of it.
And the difference is where you use your label or something that you associate or identify with and use that as a positive reinforcement for you and other people in your life. Where it becomes a problem is where people put that label on you and then put the limitations that they assume or want to stereotype that label to have, and they put that limitation on you, which then obviously that's not that you shouldn't go that way. But putting the label to find your place is, I mean, I'm fully proud of all the things that make up who I am.
So imagine with you, right? We can say Korean American chef or Midwestern chef. I mean, I have a feeling that in a way, food, life, I think in a way is even far way more interesting without boundaries. It's like you can be all those things and so many others.
Right.
So do you agree with that?
1,000%. I was just having a conversation with a young man. His name was Max. I don't know if he's here. He's going to be like, why are you talking about me? He was such a lovely guy. He was from Omaha, Nebraska, and he was talking about how he loves cooking. And his parents brought him here to the Cayman Cookout because he loves cooking so much. And I said, well, he was like, I just don't know if this is what I should be doing. And I think the beauty, I mean, first of all, at 18, being told that you have to figure out what you're supposed to do for the rest of your life is not okay. It's a little bit of pressure. Full frontal lobe has not been fully developed until your early 20s. Like, you don't know yet. And I was like, the beauty of all of this stuff is you're allowed to change your mind as many times as you want. You're allowed to reinvent yourself as many times as you want. You're allowed to choose a different career, do what you want. And I said, it sounds like you certainly have a family that supports you and will back you on any choice that you want to make. So you're already 10 steps ahead of a lot of people that may not have that support system. And, you know, I think sometimes it's the permission to not know and the permission to be able to figure it out and not have the answer right now is the permission that we need to have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This episode of Longer Tables is supported by the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. I am so excited for Longer Tables to partner with Nissan because, as my listeners know, I love talking with my guests about how food shapes our world and makes us who we are. But I also love hearing people's stories of how they got to where they are today, about the journey itself, and how much joy and adventure we can find within the journey, not just the destination. And there is no better vehicle for chasing bigger, better, and more exciting adventures than the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. With 7 drive modes, the Pathfinder's available intelligent 4-wheel drive is built for even the most epic journeys. In a Pathfinder, the real fun comes from getting there. That's why we are excited to partner with Nissan to celebrate adventurers everywhere. Thanks again to Nissan for supporting Longer Tables and for the reminder to chase bigger, better, more exciting adventurers and enjoy the ride along the way. Learn more at nissanusa.com. So you work with a great chef, a legend from Boston, Barbara Lynch. You were the chef at Menton in Boston. You brought a cookbook. Can you give me one dish that in a way you say, this is me, this is a dish that represents who I am? And I know it's difficult for anybody.
Oh, I think I have an
to
answer
sell.
for you.
So you have
Yeah,
a dish.
I have an answer for you, and it's nothing that I cook myself at all. It's just purely what my favorite dish is. My favorite dish in the entire world is really shit chicken fingers with ranch dressing, mayonnaise, and seasoned curly fries. So good. And if that is everything that brings me comfort of my upbringing, my childhood, what brings me comfort after 12 hours in a kitchen after service, give me French fries and some form of fried chicken, and I'm in a happy place.
But it needs to be chicken fingers.
Like crappy ones, not homemade. They cannot be homemade. They need to buy, you gotta buy like, the case, the big brand that frozen things come in. I'm not gonna say the brand because they're not paying me. They ship them in and you just drop them in the fryer, and they have specks of black pepper that are so big that you're like, I don't think this is actually black pepper. Those are the ones. I'll make them for you sometime.
You heard in longer tables that I'm invited to chicken fingers with Kristen Kish. Yeah, this is not the dish I was expecting from you. But I like chicken fingers too.
Yeah, comfort.
Comfort food, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if he likes this answer, so maybe I'm gonna give you one more answer.
And so, let me rephrase the question. Of the amazing dishes that you created in your lifetime, what is the dish that you are the proudest of your creations?
Okay, I can give you an actual answer. So if you don't get your first answer right away, ask again. For a long time, I cooked with my head. I cooked for accolades, I cooked for awards, I cooked to be impressive. And what ended up happening is that I felt that I kind of lost myself, and by trying to be so impressive, I actually became kind of dull and fell into the sea of chefs, trying to also be impressive. And I had to learn, and I'm still learning, that being impressive is just being me, and that needs to be good enough. See, I'm still having a hard time even saying that. Being impressive is being me. And so I created a dish. It was one of the opening dishes at the restaurant. It's this homemade pasta with the champignon sauce, all the things. But it was inspired off of Hamburger Helper. There's no hamburger, there's no helper. We make everything. The sauce, as Alex, my executive chef, can attest to, it takes days to make. But it is comfort. And if I can just tell my story through my food, that's all you really can hope for. Because then after that, you can either like it or you don't like it, and that's okay.
I love it. So we talk about the TV show called Restaurants at the End of the Wall, where you film all over the world. How many countries, you remember?
Oh, we did. So we did like a pilot season, which was 4 episodes. Yeah.
And the countries were?
To someone in the
Norway
world,
was one?
Norway, we were very close to the North Pole. We were 74 degrees north.
So you didn't go to Oslo, you went to the North Pole.
We basically went to the North Pole.
You were looking for Santa Claus, or?
Polar, I found you, yes. Polar bears and José Andrés. It was amazing. We went to a place in Maine. It's a island 12 miles off the coast of Maine. And to someone watching it all over the world, that is the end of the world for them. We went to Paraty, Brazil, which was outstanding. And then we went to the cloud forest in Panama.
Wow. Good places. So, anything that you remember learning or cooking that really impressed you? That's something, I think everybody thinks like when they talk about the chef, we know all the answers about everything that has to do with food. No. Like people stop me sometimes in the street and randomly ask me a question, and I'm like, who do you think who I am? Go to Wikipedia, man. Don't you have Google? It's so hard to know everything. You learn French cooking, all the techniques. When you think you know everything, and then you realize that there is also Italian cooking and Spanish cooking. And then you start looking, it's like, how many countries we have in the world? And every country has different regions. You never end. I mean, tomatoes. They ask you, do you know about tomatoes? I say, nope. You know how many varieties of tomatoes are out there in the world? It's impossible to know everything about everything.
I agree.
But anything you found that you said, oh man, why I didn't grow up in that community?
Yeah. You know, it's funny that you just said what you just said because I love food. It is my career. It is how I've made my living. But what I've realized as I've gotten older is that, you know, a lot of people travel to go to this restaurant that they see on a list, or travel because they want to try food. I am also like that, but that is not the first reason I like to travel. Travel is figuring out, you know, being an adoptee and trying to figure out your place in this world, and you don't grow up with people that look like you. It never escapes me that I could have ended up anywhere with any family from any part of this world. And so when I travel, that is the lens that I travel with. Yes, it's about the food, and I'll learn more about it, but it's about being with somebody and kind of having this, a greater empathy, I feel, knowing that they could have been my family too. And that's why I like to travel.
So the food is the excuse to be connecting to those
Correct.
people.
I mean, we got to eat anyway, so we'll get to the food eventually. It's no problem.
We have Andrew Zimmer here in the crowd. He eats tongue of flamingos, penises of buffaloes. But it's not about the dishes he eats, but it's about the stories, like Kristen, of the people that made them happen. That's really the interesting part.
Yeah.
Fascinating. If you had to choose in a possible second season, one country you've never been and you wanted to be, what country will be that?
As many places as I've been and are well acquainted with, I want to go to the places that I've yet to hear of, the places that Andrew Zimmer has gone, the places that you have gone, the places that I only have seen on television. I'm still watching travel food shows with that like 15-year-old Kristen trying to figure out what's going on behind the screen. I want to go to those places still. And, you know, whether that happens for work and I get sent to go, or that has to happen in my personal time, I'm going to make it happen.
Great. So we can be here for hours listening to her because she has a fascinating story, and the way she tells the story is even more fascinating. But I have one last question. I guess specifically on Top Chef, the program, you know, aims to lift up new, talented chefs. So besides technique and flavors, what will be the one piece of advice you will give to a new cook, chef, trying to become a chef, trying to make his or her name? Any one piece of advice of the many lessons you learned in life that you think was important for you and you would like to share that?
Food is always secondary to the person that you are. So just be a good person. If you're going to put yourself on television and want to cook your food and you want people to receive you and your food in a positive light, then be a good, positive person. That's it.
So an amazing person, a great woman, a host of many shows, a talented chef, writing cookbooks. We are only seeing the beginning of what is going to keep being an amazing career for the years to come. Thank you for being here with me, with us, in longer tables. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Kish.